It's now time to take a look at stories making headlines on Nigerian newspapers. And I have joining me here in the studio, political technocrat, Dr. Coyote, Coyote. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
My pleasure being here. Good morning. How was your weekend?
Good morning to you. Very cool. And public affairs analyst, Dr. John, thank you so much. It's good to see you again.
Happy Monday. It's good to see you too.
So let's dive into the newspapers, what they are reporting this morning. First, we have the Nation newspaper, which has as its headline, ACF to federal government, wage total war on terrorist bandits. ACF to federal government, wage total war on terrorist bandits. Daily Times has it as a screaming headline on the front page, insecurity, President Buhari government overwhelmed. That's according to former President Obasanjo. The writer reads, laments that Nigerians traveling no longer safe on the road, in the train, at the airport. So Daily Trust is next. How NRC ignored warnings on planned attack on Abuja Kaduna train. How Nigeria Railway Corporation ignored warnings on planned attack on Abuja Kaduna train. Rising insecurity. The leadership newspaper is next. Rising insecurity, hiring mercenaries not an option. Our troops are capable. That's according to the COS. Punch, PDP bags Obasanjo Adeboye's fears over killings 2023 elections. That's according to the Punch newspaper. This Nigeria is next. Pastor Adeboye on State of the Nation, 80% of Nigeria's income being stolen by a few. We are moving steadily to bankruptcy. That's Pastor Adeboye advising the nation there, raising the alarm that 80% of Nigeria's income being stolen by a few. We are moving steadily to bankruptcy. Blueprint is next. With 11 months to 2023 polls, APC will clear cloudy atmosphere to victory. That's according to Adamu, the chairman of the new chairman of the APC. And Nigerian News Direct, tariff hike, multi-choice dares federal government tribunal's judgment. Senate begins implementation of 15% price hike on DSTV, GoTV subscriptions. Multi-choice dares federal government tribunal's judgment. Senate begins implementation of 15% rise, a price hike on DSTV, GoTV subscriptions. National economy is next. Nigeria loses 1.8 trillion naira annually to multiple documentation at the ports. Nigeria loses 1.8 trillion naira annually to multiple documentation at the ports. Business AM, ambushed, economy's minefield, craves minesweepers for investment inflows. Economy's minefield craves minesweepers for investment inflows. So you see that on the front page of Business AM. The penultimate newspaper that I have here with me is Business Day. Crisis looms as Nigeria's vulnerable non-poor struggle. Crisis looms as Nigeria's vulnerable non-poor struggle. Wow. Abuja Inquirer is the last but not the least. Exposed. Rot in telecoms industry. International firms stifle Nigerian coins. Then we've got disregard local content law. Cheat federal government of VAT and NCC indicted. That's according to Abuja Inquiry. So let's get talking about some of the stories that are reported on the front pages of newspaper. I would like to begin with you, political technocrat, Dr. Coyote, Dr. Coyote. Daily Trust has it on the front page of the newspaper that NRC ignored warnings on planned attack on Abuja Kaduna train. And that's speaking to a story that I read a little earlier, that the military tends to get intels about these bandits, terrorists, let's call them what they are, plan to attack because they stay in a nearby village, pass the night there, and they launch attack the following day, according to what one of the honorables of the one federal lawmaker said on our channel yesterday. What do you make of this?
Let me first of all pick you on that statement that that man said they lodged in a particular village before launching the attack. And again, they're now saying NRC, Nigeria Railway Corporation, ignored warnings. You see, I have been saying it times without number that look, there is no village that doesn't have the police. No village.
What do you mean police?
That is not attached. That is not attached to a police station.
Okay.
At least there will be a divisional police post there. Okay. Now, my issue is all these police. How have we been empowering them? Okay, because these police are the people that are very, very close to the grassroots and know how, if there are strangers in a village, people will need to talk to the police. Aside, we have also been talking about local vigilantes. Because these are local people that understand the terrain of all those areas. But being that as it may, these bandits, these terrorists, these security breaches between you and me, there is no country that we don't have them. It's just that the speed at which it is now occurring in Nigeria is alarming. And how come about that? We have had so many people talking about how all these people enter the country. I think last week, towards the end of last week, El-Rufai was talking about bringing mercenary again to this country. When you bring mercenary again to this country, where do you keep them? Do you have that constitutional temerity to bring in mercenary to this country? Bearing in mind what Baraje said as regards how these bandits enter Nigeria during 2014 or thereabout election. All right? Bearing in mind what Madam, what's her name again? This woman, Madam Taraba, late Madam Taraba,
Mama Taraba,
also said as regards how this thing has now become a thing of incessancy in this country. You two are now talking of mercenary again. Now, let us also leave that. What is our Niger Comsat doing? Niger Comsat that gets budgetary allocation every year, that claim to be having 3 satellites in the orbit. Yes, we learned that. I don't know whether they have replaced that one that fell to destroy another country's satellites the other time. But what are they supposed to be doing? They are supposed to be using that satellite to comb the territory of Nigeria. And when they are seeing strange things, quickly alert the security agencies. So what are we doing as regards all this? How many of them, again, had been apprehended in the past? We remember those people that were apprehended in the past, they were being brought back to the society, and who do you think they will still serve? They will still serve their master. So these are all issues that makes this banditry and whatever to be highly complicated. And not until when some people decide to change their philosophy, rather than buy to Kanu or change service chiefs, but changing their philosophy, that the people I'm supposed to preside upon must be safe and must be secured. We're going to get to anywhere.
All right, Dr. John, let me come to you. You know, you mentioned the issue of buying Tucano jets and all that, because we thought that was a silver lining for us when they said Tucano jet is going to come. And then after the courts pronounced these people terrorists, we still are where we are.
I think we should get it very clear, and I'm going to start from the angle of a global understanding of terrorism. A fight against terror is not a fight of deadline. You don't say you destroy or defeat them within 2 weeks. It's that of consistency and faith. And having said that, I think it's also very important for us to understand some of the underlying issues so that we do not think that at the end of the day that our Tucanos will bring us victory. The first thing I want us to look at is the issue of religious intolerance. And when you talk about religious intolerance in our concept in Nigeria, it's about you having the belief that your religion is superior to another, and you want to do everything within your power to suppress the people of other religion, even if it means killing everybody. The second one is regional relevance. Regional relevance, Nigeria has got to a point now where every region wants to be relevant, and we can understand what's happening in the Southeast today. And if you do not address some of these issues, and the third one, of course, is the issue of poverty. Because when you create an army of people for terrorists to recruit from, you cannot continue to say you are fighting terrorism. You have already created a market for them to recruit from because of the level of poverty. You see, there are many dimensions of poverty, but I'm going to talk about two of them. The first one is strategic poverty. Strategic poverty happens when the people in authority, maybe the leaders of organization, deliberately leave their people in poverty so that they can continue to manipulate them in their time of decision, election, or selection. And I think it's happening in Nigeria. We cannot continue to leave 70% of our populace or population in abject poverty and think that we want to solve the issue of terror, because that supposition might be flawed in the sense that we know this current administration, for instance, has a lot of social intervention programs, reaching out to the markets, women and men, sponsoring trader money, and all of those programs. Okay. I think without going to any contestation, I want to believe that is even the reason why the poverty level is still stuck at 70%. Maybe we'll be talking about 90-something%. Does it not surprise you? Maybe you haven't read that it's not up to 2% of the banking population of Nigeria that has 500,000 in their account, not up to 2%. So the issue of poverty is there. If we do not tackle the issue of poverty, we continue to create market. And I talk about strategic poverty. And again, another dimension of poverty is that of what I call spiritual poverty. And it doesn't have to do with religion. It's when poverty soaks your spirit and your soul, that the only thing you're thinking about is survival. When you get to this point, then everybody will want to do anything to survive. It will shock you. It happened in Somalia. And a lot of people felt, oh, it can't happen here. This is the same thing we are taught about. If Boko Haram today, God forbid, but if Boko Haram today places an advert on newspaper that they are starting a television station or a radio station, I tell you that the number of people that will apply will shock the government. Because the only thing that is driving us as we go out every day is for us to survive. That's why when you see government task road, the second day, you see people putting their wares on the road.
Are you also not? Are you also not?
These are the three things that I think if we do not address, we continue to buy Tucanos, and at the end of the day,
and then changes are excuse.
So I'm not sure what you say about what the leadership newspaper reported this morning, saying hiring mercenaries not an option. Our troops are capable, and this is following what Governor said.
You see, I've already mentioned it. That look, the governor of Kaduna State has no constitutional temerity, capacity to bring in mercenaries. No, even if there is urgent need to bring in mercenaries, it has to be at the discretion of the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, according to our constitution. Now, the only thing that any governor can do is to come up with local vigilantes. All right? And they have to work directly with the Nigerian police force.
I think, Dr. Coyote, I think we need also to understand the point of El-Rufai. I have run for election. If I had won and I'm sitting as the governor of my state, I'm not going to watch the federal government just keep quiet without doing anything. He said if we continue like this, if the federal government does not take a decisive decision, that it may resort to doing that, because we are in a situation, in a war situation, and you don't continue to
listen,
you cannot continue to open the books.
If that statement is coming from El-Rufai, it is a pity it's coming from him. because all those people I mentioned earlier also fingered him.
What do you mean fingering?
I mean, from the statement of Baraje, from the statement of Madam Taraba.
Well, that's mere allegation.
If it is emotional, whatever. It's not. If it is emotional allegation, then what he is also saying to is political emotion.
All right. So the reality of what I just want to bring out, Dr. Coyote, is that this is not the first time. We already have history with machineries. The federal government brought in machineries some years back. But you know what chased them out of the country? Corruption. It shows that even the solution to the problem may not be traceable to machinery. Nobody has ever doubted the capacity of our men. But when the federal government is drinking tea, seemingly drinking tea without taking decisive decision, who we allow his brother? I know how many people that have been killed that are connected to me on this war front. Right. So the federal government cannot be continuing to drink tea.
Then you see, when you're talking about the capability of our military,
nobody has ever doubted that.
It's not that they are not capable. It's not that they are not capable.
So what do you think is responsible?
Are they being allowed to do what they are supposed to do?
Then who's to allow them? It's the federal government that
who is to allow them? It is the federal government. Right. For instance, even these people, when they capture these so-called terrorists, what do they do to all those captured terrorists? We are all witnesses to it in this country. And a lot of time, they have been experiencing sabotage in their activities. Could you believe this? When Americans were brought into this country to come and assist us in fighting these people, they have to leave. Because they couldn't believe the level of sabotage that they were experiencing. Even the South Africans. So
could it be that, you're talking about saboteurs, could it be that the federal government is trying its best to ensure that this insecurity is fought, is brought to an end, brought down on its knees? Or the fact that some people within the security, the security structure.
Let me give you an instance. Let me give you an instance. Let me quickly give you an instance. Look at this man, Dr. Matami, what's his name again? In charge of our data and all that. That means in charge of data.
Okay.
Pantani.
It's a Pantani.
Okay. Look at a series of things that was said about him when we're collecting data for NIN and all that, that you should link your NIN to your banking, whatever, and all that. Right. Now listen, to what extent have you been using this? Because all these people that are collecting ransom, how are they collecting it? What is happening to their bank account? The NIN that is being linked to their BVN, what is happening to it? How have they been using it to catch these terrorists? So these are issues that we can place on table to know whether federal government is really fighting terrorism or not. Yeah. So let us view it.
Also,
including even the registration with the telecoms, right. The MTN registration, Glo, and all that. To what extent have we been using it?
All right, so I wanted to react to this.
I think we should
looking at it, against the backdrop of the alarm Pastor Adeboye, raised. Adeboye rather, pardon me. He said 80% of Nigeria's income being stolen by a few. We are moving steadily to bankruptcy. I just wanted to react to that.
Now, an economy has been created already around terrorism in Nigeria. And oftentimes, I tell people, the problem usually is not with the gun-carrying members of the military. It's usually with the bag-carrying members of the military. And these are people that are involved in logistic purchase, and these are people that are involved in transfer of money here and there. No doubt about that. And once this thing stops, an economy stops. And I doubt whether people really want such an economy to close. That's why I think when the federal government is releasing money, and see, if today you become the governor of your state, sir, the attention will be on the radio, television aspect of your government. Why? Because that's area of your competence. Now we have a commander-in-chief who is believed to have understanding about how to execute fight against terror, who has record of having been involved in some of these things. That's why a lot of people are alarmed. How can we have a general sit as the number one citizen
So why is it
in
not
a
happening?
country like
So why is
us,
it not happening?
and we are not having results. So beyond releasing money, beyond trusting people, there's the need for the man who is the head of the community to look in the direction of how some of these things are being expended. Sir, there's a serious corruption within the political, within the policing and the military system. Can you imagine that we will say that we have released 1 trillion naira, for example, to execute terror, and the people at the war front are complaining that they cannot get their 3 square meal. These are realities in our marketplaces.
What has that, please,
So,
what has that
please,
got to do with?
if you do not tackle the issue of corruption,
the arrested terrorists that have not been punished? What has that got to do? To what extent have they been punishing them?
It is not
or trying to reintegrate them back to the society?
It is not about terrorism alone. It's a general problem we have in our community.
When you are not putting in the punitive measures, it will continue. That's the issue.
When you go out of here, I don't want us to limit it to the issue of terrorism. It's the behavioral pattern of the Nigerian government. And it's not limited to whether it's APC or PDP. When you get out of here, you see a special corridor in your Lagos called the BRT corridor. Let's start from there. This is what we see oftentimes. You see people take this route without being punished. What happens? Another set of people take to it. That's the same thing we have in governance, because there's no punitive measure that is taken against any crime committed against the community. Everybody thinks, oh, crime is the right way to go.
All right. Well, we'll continue to talk about this. It's something that we always, gather here every morning to look at and see how we can profile solutions to the challenges we're facing in this country. Thank you very kindly. Right in the studio here, political technocrat, Dr. Dayo Coyote. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
And public affairs analyst, Dr. John. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.